It's exactly 10:25 p.m. Of course, the servant will not be here long. It's been a minute or two, perhaps a long minute, since the servant went live, particularly during this time, which is that eternal hashtag lowercase L life. Of course, I'm in the PG attire for this evening. It is late. It's been a very long day for his servant, but nevertheless, we're standing right here on day 25 of October. It's October the 25th of 2024. And tonight, this particular day, day 25, knowing what day 25 represents in light, we're like standing in the gap. Like we often say, this is how the Lord gave it to a servant to say to that people, is that if you knew that there was this huge, incredible pit right in front of you, just one step, and there you go. But you can't see it because it's dark. There is no light. And then how the Lord gave the servant to see is that all of a sudden, light come on. And you can see there is this great big pit, this huge, incredible pit. The chances, hear us in place of spirit, the chances of you wanting to go into that big pit is a very 0%. No one seeing destruction or no one seeing a big pit right before your very eyes. His servant is talking immediately, all at once, suddenly the light come on. And you can see that if you took one step further, you would be falling into a big, huge pit. Well, tonight, on this day 25, the Lord brings us into that place for eternal life. You just don't see the huge, large table of the executive angels, but we know they're out there. You had that moment to come in. We invited you in to sit at that table, and to sit at that table, that particular time and place, in place of spirit. It was all spirit. Everything his servant does, it is like the spirit of, listen and hear, the spirit of the living God sends us before, sometimes way before the actual event, situation, whatever it is, sends us way. That's why we teach people about the beyond, to go into the beyond, and prepare, because we are to be, hear us well, a ready people, not getting ready. Oh, let me make myself. No, we are to be ready. So we've had some time to do a lot of things, and everything we've done have been all spirit. The spirit has given us so much to do, to the point that the spirit had to say unto his servant, slow down. Those were huge words, and the servant just didn't know how to really adapt to those words. They were huge. And then the spirit would say, slow down. And we just couldn't adapt to those words until something happened to cause us to slow down, because like to it all is that we had made so much progress that had not yet been seen. Well, today we won't be here long, but we have to stand here. If you look over his servant's shoulder, above his servant head, and over his servant's shoulder, how we used to put that up, over his servant's shoulder, above his servant head, kind of thing. You see right there, that is the actual eternal life, the photo, the picture that was captured. The video is already up. It's been up for years. It's out there. We could turn it around, but it's not Thursday. And Thursday, that's where we come into that Mercy She Hopes solutions. Oh yeah, there's solutions God gives unto the people, especially his chosen, the called out, or the sought out. He gives unto us, and we hope you can hear us. I was going to go somewhere with that, but I better not put that out there right now. We'll hold back on that. Sometimes we want to say certain things, but we know that even the ears and the places in which we stand are not ready for it. It's not like his servant do not desire to say it. It's just that things must be said in a timely order, and the timing must be perfect. Was going somewhere with that, and if the Spirit brings it back, we will release it. Nevertheless, but as we stand here, like we said, over his servant shoulder and above his servant head, because all of this is truly above his servant head, and we don't take any credit or glory from it, because we couldn't do it without the Lord. And the whole truth of the matter is we wouldn't even want to do it without the Lord. Just like tonight. You know, MD could be over there in that eagle's nest. We could be there resting and going on into the night and get a good night's sleep. But no, the Spirit said on this night, day 25, October the 25, with everything going on, a lot of things is being opened on tonight. But nevertheless, I need you to stand in the gap, because if they can't see the pit, but if I give you to be the light to let them know about the pit, and it opens their eyes immediately, they won't want to go to that pit. They won't take another step further. And so for all of those that may want to tune into certain things happening on tonight, his servant will encourage you, even discourage you to not do so. We believe that our eyes are that window to our soul. And when you let a lot of things in your soul, there's a lot of things you can't get out. It might be easy to let in, but not easy to let out. And so we're standing here tonight on this day 25. If you would like to know more about what day 25 is, we won't say we'll do it tonight, but somewhere it'll pop up, it'll come up, where we talk about that number 25 and give you light to that number 25. But real briefly, in the place of spirit, light always give us to see day 25 as a day of sacrifice. It's a sacrifice day. That number 25 always will represent sacrifice, just like the number 22 will always represent light. You won't ever be able to change that. So that being said, we're here just out of obedience. So a lot of things we could say, but a few things we would love to say, because we can't really go to Liberty for All. It's not the first Friday of the month, even though it's Friday. October the 25th, today is Friday, but we're not there. The timing doesn't bring us to the Liberty for All for Liberty, although it is Friday. Like we said, it is also like when you see, if we turn this actual image right here around and you see eternal life, to know that eternal life is real, because it's not Thursday, that timing isn't right. But spirit, this thing called spirit, that's what spirit looks like. And without light, you can't see it. Who can see into darkness but light? All right. So you don't know. So we're going to use this. And not only are we going to use this a lot, there's a video out there. It's in the month of June. We did it a while back, and we introduced you to spirit. And all, and could you imagine? Oh, I don't even want to go there. Servant don't even want to go there. You have to look at that video. It is like one of the most powerful videos that the Spirit and I, his servant, had an encounter to get to know one another. And it was like being in a dark room and then hearing a voice. It was so powerful. And then the Spirit gave us to see that without light, they couldn't possibly see me. They could not see spirit. And from the very beginning, spirit said, let there what? Let there be what? Let there be what? Light. And then that's proof all that we need, that without light, there is impossible to see spirit. But nevertheless, here as well, we're just standing in the gap, because so many want to run the other way, look at all that other stuff, and then wonder why they keep putting distance between them and God, distance between them and spirit. And why they can't really hear spirit is because of what all they let in. So tonight you have no excuse. We stand right here in the gap. And like if you could see that big old pit, you understand there's a word out there that says hell have enlarged herself. Isn't that huge? That hell is identified as her. Let me get up out of here. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but nevertheless, I even have to write out wonderful notebook, and we're not even into that because it's not Wednesday. See, it's so much, but it's up to you to, stay up on that wall, because MD is always like the Spirit gave unto his servant, keep it moving. Right there, we're going to run a little bit with this for a second. When I hear the words keep it moving, it's almost like you can attach it to some of the favorite sayings of the Martin Luther King, who told us to keep it moving. Even if you have to crawl, whatever, just keep it moving. And we haven't been able to shed those words because that was part of a theme a long time ago where you hear a servant say, I'm moving. Might even put it in this one particular video so you could see, because sometimes when you don't know what you're watching, when your eyes really haven't been open to spirit, you could be looking right at it. You don't hear me. You could be looking right at it. It's almost like someone reading the word and you read it for many, many years back, front, back, middle. I mean, you just read it and you know where the word is. You can go through all 66 of those books and know where they are and how to find them. And then all of a sudden, all these books you've ever read in that Bible, that HOLY, that Holy Bible, you understand, there comes that one specific time when the Lord would use something you've read for many, many years and then all of a sudden magnify it. And you're like, my goodness, I've been reading this for years and never saw it like that. But that's how powerful things is. And so let me get on up out of here, because you could be looking right at it and not see what you're, should see. And then all of a sudden, this is why we're here, that light come. And light is just that light. It's not burden. It's not heavy. It's not a weight. Light is just that light. And so when that light appears, there's nowhere in the world you want to run back and all. And may we add here, when you see this is not darkness. And one thing, when we had that encounter, I'm coming back. When we had that encounter, this was what was so mind-blowing for a servant, is how the Spirit says, you tell them that I came from, I felt God right there. Lord have mercy. Tell them that I came from out of darkness, not outer darkness. You know how they created space? If you were to really see light or walk upon the high places with his servant, you will see that's not real. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Hallelujah. I got to come back. I can't go too far out there. Stay right where I need to be, right in the gap. You understand? Right in the gap to get you to see this as spirit and not that big old pit, but to stand as light. And hopefully, no one wants to choose the pit when they can be led by the Spirit, because they that are led by the Spirit, they are what? You know what that is. But nevertheless, to get you to see spirit, right? But tell them I came from out of darkness. That's death itself. That's grave itself. You understand? Out of darkness. Some could say from the depths of the sea. They could just go all the way with it. But I came from out of spirit. Spirit is saying. That's why you can't trace. You can't trace. You understand? Like so many want to. And put a face on it like so many want to. Right? Come from out of darkness, not outer darkness. Spirit didn't come from space. All right? This is not something you can create. All right. So that just come through a place of spirit kind of thing. But this was mind-blowing, because something we want to close with, we've stood here long enough, is, 10:39, we received the phone call we were waiting on before we jumped on the air and knew it was coming. So we waited that phone call out in a few minutes before we came on air. I believe around 10:21 the phone rang, so we got that call and we were free to do these few minutes. But looks like we can be able to do what we attempt to do. You know, IMD is about that thing. We're going to do it. Won't do it. That try is out the window. We're going to do it somewhere, somehow. When the Spirit leads and the time is right, the Lord himself will open up the door. So we come through the way of wanting to use that, this over here and take it to TikTok and all. And TikTok just, boop, just, kicked it out right away. Boop, right away, just boop, violated it right away. And I'm like, well, Lord, this is mind-blowing to his servant, right? No one asks for these gifts, especially this gift. I feel God. No one asks for this, not voluntarily. When my father used to walk in that gift, it would scare me. So no one really asks for this gift. It's not a volunteer thing, right? It's a lot to it. So you understand this that we're sharing tonight in a brief way. It's going to get bigger, but it has to be where it's not scary. We come with no threat, but promise. It has to be able to. We have to. Him and his servant have to be able to release this in a way that gives people hope. An identity to hope, an identity to spirit, through spirit, by use of light. And like we said, MD is not drawn to every light because there is light out there that is deceiving. And even Satan himself can disguise himself as light. So the evil one can do that. And like we even gave you the light about the difference between spirit, an evil spirit and a good spirit, God's spirit, right? We gave you that light. It's up on the wall too. We won't go over that, but because it's already up on the wall. When it's evil, you're going to feel it. When it's of God, you understand. It might, for some folks, the experience that his servant have had with quite a bit of people that do get in our presence, and we are used heavily in that gift. They get goosebumps or chills or things like that. But we don't even want it to be like that. It's just not the desire of his servant. And that's one of the reasons why his servant, for the few years that we've had a moment to just sit, to even get reacquainted with a gift of way back. You understand, to the point that we're not afraid of that very gift. You understand? And you heard his servant say how the Lord said to his servant, what I've given you is not for the world. It's not for the church. It's not for the world. It's for me. It's for God. It's to be utilized, used by God and God alone. So I've had, his servant has had some time to just really be reacquainted with that gift that actually was lifted off of his servant some time ago, and all. And it took us to go through 4 pregnancies and to birth something big. And then around the year 2019 to have that come back upon his servant and say, to put me on. Was some time. We could go back to the age of 22. So I'm very careful now, even to say, in this gift, very careful in how it is used and where it is used. It's not something that we say freely do. All right? So we want to be able to, introduce something that's going to be so powerful to the world. not just the world, but the church. We know the church will be blessed by it, and the world will benefit, but God will get all the glory. Isn't that powerful? So TikTok, it was too big for TikTok. TikTok kicked me out the water right away because, like his servant can't play the lottery. We cannot. You understand? One thing you can't do, even though the gifts that so many have come without repentance, this is not the gift we talk about. You have to be in that place within the arm reach, here it come, and a hug to get into this gift that we talk about, right? That's through that Mercy Shield solution, which is not tonight. This is all spirit, just his servant standing in the gap to give thy people somewhere else to go on this day 25, so they do not open up certain doors and windows and all these kind of things that you won't be able to shut. You won't be able to shut these, okay? And all that. This is almost taking his servant back to the day, the Obama days and all of that just come through the place of spirit. So we have to do that, because we might even start putting some of those clips into some videos, even may put them up on the walls of the introduction wall, and even right here, because those are mysteries. Those are defining moments. And like we said, that his servant is the kind of messengers that don't get to pick sides. The Lord say, like Ananias having to do for a Saul before he become Paul. It may be one of those moments. So glad we don't get to, because I don't like that one, or because no, I can't stand that one. Well, Lord, that church over there just not right. Well, Lord, I must always hear the words of my Father that says, you're going to have to return. You're going to have to go to the main ones. You understand, that really either hurt you, harmed you, you understand, abandoned you, all those. You're going to have to return to that church. You understand what I'm saying? It's that church thing, that church stuff. You understand, the ones that, profess to have Christ. What does the word say? The word said that they have a form of godliness, but they deny the power. You understand? The power. You understand? The power of God. You understand? The power that comes with the fire. That's what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm saying? They deny that, you see. And so, we can't fight that. So in God's own time, because God knows his church is going to need rescuing. So nevertheless, they kicked me out, because right here, and this is where we're getting ready to close, been standing here long enough now, because we can't play the lotto, because of the gift, you understand, and no way you're going to hear us where, because they going to call your name when you win big. They done called MD, they done called Mother. She done won the lotto. You understand? We don't know. We can't do that. Receive that rebuke, all of that. And one thing we can't do, even though there are gifts out there, like we said, that they come without repentance, we cannot abuse the gift of God. We cannot abuse the things that God has put into us, and use it for self-gain and all of that. And there has been but 2 times in his servant life that we can record this, where that the Lord gave us to use the gift to help his servant's son, and to also help his servant. And you would have to be within an arm reach and a hug to get that, all right? And so had not the Lord gave us to use that gift, never knew that gift was as strong as it was until we were literally facing life and death. You understand? And how the Lord gave us to see into one particular case that the hat was preposterous. And I need you to tell the judge that the hat is preposterous, and that he allowed his servant to pull out all the details and to let them know and see that the DNA that they said they had, they never had. It scared the whole courthouse. You hear what I'm saying? That I feel God. That's the gift we talk about. The gift that takes you into the dark places, into secret places, things that are hidden, that they, so many don't want you to know about. Those are the places we are talking about in all to get that light to come to pass. And so, seeing the results of that was powerful. And then to look into the face of a young man who wanted to hold his servant at gunpoint just to rob glory and to take glory. And God had me to look the young man in the face as he pulled the gun and say to this young man, you're not going to get away with it. See, he allowed me to have eye-to-eye contact with him. And when we looked into his eyes, the Lord said unto his servant, say unto him that you won't get away with it. And so by the time the officers and all got there and all, we just standing in the gap tonight. That's all. 10:25. Clock this one in at 10:25. In oneness with the day, 10:25. It's October the 25th of 2024. Look that young man in the eye and tell him. He didn't have time to pull the thing that he had over his face. It was going too fast and all. And look him in the eye and tell him you're not going to get away with this. I never forget meeting the officers, two of them. That's why we said we can't play the lottery. Meeting two of those officers. And they were I'm telling you, Orange County was on it that time. I mean, they were on it. They were just on it. They were on it. They were on time. Everything happened on time. And never forget it. Couldn't even remember the license plate, the Glory. They're asking me the license plate. And I'm saying you can track Glory. Glory has a tracker. And looking at the year of glory, they didn't believe it was on there, but they didn't doubt it. They went to search it. And do you know the license number? Didn't know it because we didn't have any identification. They could have just took me as anybody, just throwing in bits and pieces, just standing here in the light. And nevertheless, hear us well. Remember the officer asking me, do you know your license number? Didn't even know it. Ladies, we need to know the license plate. You just never know what situation might arise where you might have to know them numbers or letters or whatever they are. And at this particular time, his servant didn't know. And his servant wants you to remember this date, January the 6th, because we will be standing in the gap again on that day, January the 6th. But nevertheless, hear us well. Didn't know it. So felt a certain way. Felt a certain kind of way. So his servant go over there away from the officers. Asked the officers, could they give his servant a minute? Because we knew we were going to go over there to have it out with the Lord. To later on find out. Hopefully you're getting something from this. To later on find out from my brother, God rest his soul, who said to me, reminded me of a testimony my dad said about how one day he just invited God to come down and fight. Well, if you come on down and fight. So now it made sense why his servant just needed that minute, right? Just give me a minute or so. And I had to walk away from them, go over there, is at a 7-Eleven location, and go over there in a space where no one was. MD went over there, and I'm telling you, me and God had it out. I stomped my feet. Only had 2 occasions like that. I looked around, because sometimes you look around for that lightning kind of thing, right? It was one of those moments. I stomped my foot, his servant did, and said to the Lord, you mean to tell me you have me telling these people that the favor is upon us, and the double is upon us, and you're going to let somebody take glory? You're going to let somebody take glory? I mean, it's like me and God had a duke out that moment, I was wanting to duke it out, Oh my goodness, wanted to duke it out with God, And now we found out through my brother later where that all come from. All this dude come from. This is just, I blame it on my daddy, my father. God rest his soul. But nevertheless, let me tell you something. It took that moment. Like I said, we'll only use this gift twice. Can you imagine having this gift really since I was 5, right? To have this gift and not use it for yourself. Use it for everybody else, but not use it for yourself. And then the Lord, through these two moments, that was life or death, because the Lord chose life for us, opened that gift up like it was a window and let me see clear, right? And upon stomping his servant feet, talking to God and saying to God, you mean to tell me you're going to have me tell these people, about favor and the double is upon us and the REST and entering, righteous entrance, save time. And then you're going to let somebody take glory? And that was the experience that we had, as well as an encounter that God let me know can't nobody take glory. How glory belongs to God. And then all of a sudden the Lord spoke unto his servant, said, go stand in the direction in which glory was taken and command glory to come back without any scratch, without any harm or anything. And that's exactly what his servant did. The officer saw his servant do that, come running and say, is everything all right? And at that particular time, as soon as the officer opened his mouth, the Lord let the last three letters of the first three letters of the actual tag of glory just come rushing through his servant, right before his servant face. Cause see it come running, A-N-S. Just like that, A-N-S, just ran across his servant. Just like that, A-N-S. That was enough for them to track glory. Because as the Lord gave his servant through that moment of stomping that foot and calling him from heaven down, right? He allowed those letters, 3 of them, to run before his servant. And they were huge, and his servant could see it. And I started shouting, A-N-S, A-N-S. And while his servant was shouting A-N-S, the Spirit said, The Spirit said, I just answered you, right? And when the Spirit said he answered me, when he said it to the officers what it was, they were able to tap in and right away pick up where glory was being taken, right? And somewhere between that early a.m. hour, knock come on the door, and it was them 2 officers. And at that time, we had said to them that the Lord said, that you're going to find him before the night's out. They looked at me like I lost my mind. But the Lord showed me that they were going to find him before the night was out. And when they found the young man, he had the weapon on the front seat of the vehicle of glory. He had it right there. The officer said if he didn't know any better, and he didn't, he said to him, he put it in the report, it was a real gun, to find out that it wasn't real. That's how real it looked. I'm going to talk about this now. January the 6th, remember, we're going to come back and stand in the gap for January the 6th. It's going to change the whole day about January the 6th. Right? Because some things you can see, it can look so real, but it never happened. All right, gotta go. Oh! Gotta go. All right, we gotta go. Gotta go. Gotta go. All right? And so that one night, right there with them officers, because it was so real, they come, knock on the door in the wee of the morning. And when they were knocking on the door, servant go to open the door. It's the 2 officers. And the officers had these big old huge books, right? And you know what them books are. Them books is those mug shots. There was a lot of them. They brought quite a bit of those books. They was huge mug shots. And as if, perhaps when his servant said, you going to catch him before the night's over with, like his servant wouldn't know. Never met him, never seen him. But as soon as they brought them books in, right, open them up on the counter, begin to open up on the counter, his servant stepped towards the book. When the servant stepped towards the book, the gift was just as plain as day, just like the letters A and S ran before a servant. So did that photo. Soon as we went to look in that book and didn't get far, the Spirit had his servant point and said, there he is. The two officers looked at each other like simultaneous. They looked at each other and they shook their head like, and they said, that's him. That's all they said. All they could say is, that is him. And he was a 20-year-old. But guess what was at the end of Glory license plate? ANS. Was X. Was X20. That was the age of the young man. That was the one. That was the Spirit of the Lord letting the servant know, I X'd it. I just, it ain't gonna, look at this. It ain't gonna work. Stop. I'm gonna stop him. Just like that. X20. And that was the age of the young man. You ought to hear that testimony because it's bigger than that. But nevertheless, it was so accurate that the officers was leaving and they was nudging on each other. And he was like, I can't do that. And he was like, well, you do it. He's like, I can't do it. And they like little kids knocking on each other, officers, And he's like, I can't do it. You do it. And then finally, the one officer got on the other officer's nerves so much, they said, okay, and he turned around and he says, my partner want to know, can you just give us the numbers to the, you know where I'm going with that. Can you give us the number to the lotto? Oh my goodness, it's so much to that story. It's not just a story, it's a testimony. You know how MD, there's a CC moment right there because we tell it through the words of a testimony. It's not a story, you understand? Nothing made up. We had it's just real and all. But you should have seen the actual humor that came from how powerful the Spirit was that day to not even let a thief escape. You see, and not only did the Spirit save his life, save the servant life, he gave us some powerful words to go with it. Of course, we're going to talk about it, but tonight we just, day 25 of 2024, we're just standing in the gap, you understand, because of what we see and what we have seen, right? And knowing what day 25 is all about. But nevertheless, TikTok kicked the site out. We couldn't do this. And so we have light that we can now, and we're definitely going to move towards it. We're going to take something to TikTok that they can't dispute, and that is facts. They own that thing called facts. So that's the original copy. You see right there that says facts. What does it say? Facts about presidents. Right? Is that what it says? You see it, right? This is that original that go all the way back to October the 14th. I want to link all this together, right? We're going to get you from point A all the way to Z. But there it is, and we believe we can put it right there on Spirit. We can teach, right? And for education purposes only, we can use this and then, have Spirit that over his servant's shoulder and above his servant head. And so TikTok won't be able to touch Spirit because Spirit is powerful, right? So we figure, Spirit and I become one, that we might be able to put this here and use it because it is facts. Because, they look for facts. They kick down the truth. Truth. They get mad at truth, but as difficult as it was. So we're going to put the facts up on them so they can't dispute facts, right? You can't dispute facts. And we know they look for keywords. That's part of the algorithm. They look for that and they just kick it out anyway because of that. So we have to be light with those kind of words and understand it. But in our closing, and this is where we must go, in our closing, with a few dates, you already have January the 6th. We gave that to you. And so we're going to high five that and we're going to tag team that. We're going to come back with everything we have on that just to bring light in times of darkness. But I want to grab something out of this Write Out Wonderful notebook that we would like to bring to light on this day 25. And it's up on the wall, on the introduction wall. You're going to see that we did start playing, brought it back up on the wall. As difficult as it was, I still came. So we didn't have to do anything on the MD platform for Light and Life with that. So that's already out there. It's there for you to see it. It's going to be there for the next 11 days and into the year 2025. All right? Because even though we are talking on this day 25, we have a year, a whole year of 25 coming. And without light, you won't know what that year represents. But we're going to talk about that because it's more powerful than a sacrifice, all right? Or sacrifices. So that being said, we said to you, and the date that we said it was October the 14th of 2020. All right, so we're in the year 2024. But on October the 14th of 2020, we said these words, and it went AATW all around the world, was said, we told you who the 46th president, this is the exact word, who the 46th president might be, an eye-opener for many. That was the exact words in a, it's up on the wall, right? We might just even put the whole message up there, but those that really do get within the arm reach a hug, you see it. It's there. It's on the introduction wall. It might float over to the I Am Sent Me, but it's one of those things that have to be led. But right now, it's on that wall. A lot of light is on that one particular wall because it's introduction wall. But years ago, all right, 2020, you heard his servant say, it was all spirit, said that the 46th president, at that time looking at the number 10, the 46th president might be an eye-opener for many. And we also said to you that it could go either way. The reason why we said it could have went either way was because one was 74 and the other one was 77, right? So one had 11, one, and the other one had 14. And you know what is so deep about that number 14 as being part of the 14th generation, right? So we shared that with you because right now up on the wall, you're going to hear that 1014 that talk about 14 generation, 14, got to get out of here, 14 generation, 14 generation. And these are the words, and no change. And a Democrat was in office. Now, when we first ministered that in 2003, we had no light. I'm going to honestly tell you because MD cannot lie. But we had TRUTH, which was truth. You understand? And so we thank God for the time period because like we said, no matter when truth comes, spirit come, it's going to always be on time, right? Because those two are always attached to eternal things, forever, everlasting, right? So spirit doesn't go away, you understand, but has the ability to show up and show up right on time. Never late. That's what the Spirit just said. Tell them I'm never late. So here's so powerful. This is where we're going to go because we went to tell you on TikTok, but TikTok, booted me off because his servant used the mat, was going to eat off the mat to tell you that, right? So they kicked his servant off and didn't let his servant do that. And we have the actual, it's still up there on TikTok where we like, we did a little short video and it's like, talking to TikTok about that. But you'll see it. It's on TikTok. It has. We might bring it on this wall too. It looks just like this, and they just never let it go out. But nevertheless, one thing I'm going to say is that we're in a reverse time. We're in a reverse. It's a reverse. It's a huge reverse. It's so powerful. MD is so excited to be a part of the moving of spirit, you see. When spirit is moving, moves things out the way. They ain't got no business there anyway. So, you know, we're just so glad to be a part of that. That JOY thing is kind of moving there. But at that time when we saw the 7-4, that was the age of DJT, right? And that was the 11. Alarming now, this is always saying alarming, yet interesting, is that the 47th president also is 11. So things have a way to reverse itself. And the only way it can reverse itself, that we're hoping that can reverse itself, is that when light get in it, all right? Light get in it. We're going to use that, all right? But right now, I'm going to eat off this mat. When light get in it, then light is going to go back to the 22nd president and the 24th president, right? And when light get in it and reverses it, right? What's being fought right now, what's being fought doesn't want to see that reverse itself. And if it reverses itself, then what we could be looking at is not a repeat to do the same thing, but we might be looking at a repeat of a Theodore Roosevelt. You understand? And that's powerful. Now, we've said this before. I'm just throwing out, just standing in the gap. The Spirit said keep it like that. Just standing in the gap with spirit over his servant's shoulder, and that is above his servant head, all spirit, right? So this is a very strong possibility, and all, and but it's not seen. It's not seen. It's something that is in darkness that don't ever want to come to light. And so this goes as far back as to the President Cleveland, Stephen Glover Stephen. Yeah, he was a Democrat. And all. And if we had known that light, that when we were ministering all of that at that time, oh my goodness. But we're going to talk about that. And the best way we can do it is going to be through the actual original, right, that has facts about presidents. And we're going to show it because this is where we got to go, is that the keys, I have to bring it back. I have to bring back the video about the keys ending up in the wrong hands. Key number 14 cannot end up in the wrong hands. By chance that it does, guess what's going to happen? The Spirit says, I'm going to come for it. So that's where we leave you on tonight as we stand in the gap. Allowed you to get 13 keys. 13 always can't go that far, but it's also attached to a blessing with glory in it. God and glory. And we all know for many years, man have always wanted what? God's glory. But this 14th key, seeing that it belongs to the 14th generation, the Lord said, if it ends up in the wrong hands, I'm going to come for it. All right. So that's where we are. That's where we stand tonight in all. And let me finish this. The reverse is 47 equals 11. That's 47th president. The reverse is 60 equals 6. Well, mother, all right, let's keep going. 6 always represents who? Man. All right. We're going to talk about this. Because what if, and we're going to talk about it in a light way, like right now, before we close. What if, not speculation, not prediction, promise. What if there is a group of females, right, who not complete, but compete. So they compete, love competing with man. I'm looking at Big Six right now because it's all good. Big Six is Big Six. We had, I'm getting out of here. This is my way of getting out of here to come back where we're not way out there. Sometimes those that get with the orange, they know. And a hug, they know that, we get way out there. We can't always come running back, swimming back. We have to literally take our time. And right now we're just taking our time. So when we get off of this live, MD is not, we don't have none of that off of us. We just like, all right, we move on into the night. But what if? Because if in the Bible, the HOLY, if in that word is so powerful because it's so connected to possibility, possible kind of things. So there's this group of females out there that's so competitive to the male. We've already had, and we've had to stand during those times that we had to preach to let him do 4 more years, and that was only to get people through before it closed, and a moment that we would never see again, and that would be a black man for president. This is all out there. It's been out there for many, many years. We got witnesses to all of this when it was said by Spirit as being once in a lifetime, once in a blue moon. Since then, there has arisen a group of females that have been on a rise that somehow have even been deceived to believe that they can do it better than man. Mother, what are you saying? If his servant was to say to you that things are about to reverse and God, Spirit, wants an opportunity with man, we've been saying this for a long time, to recreate in him his son, to make him his son. That's one step the man skipped, was being a son. Some of them, when I'm a man, they go from male to being a man. We told you about that head, talked to the head of 5 steps. But somehow this arise of this group of women, who do not see it as we are to complete him and not to compete with him. And in doing so, it caused a great fall. Just because we might have come on the same day, or you might have come first before me, I'm with you, whatever, and I could do it, even better than you. So we've had certain things, pull it out the hat, we could, and that just come out of place of the Spirit. There's no magic here. We've had the equalizer. We've had the one male, it was Mel Gibson. I believe that's his name, Mel Gibson. Now that just came through place of Spirit. Lord, help me to remember his name, Mel Gibson. I believe that's his name. I'm going to research it because it just come through the place of Spirit. And each and one of these things, we've had a movie come right after. When the male do the movie, then a female come right after it. And that's that group we're talking about. That's that group that the Lord gives his servant to see that has a struggle with their gender. And some won't right out say, you know, they struggle with it, so you won't ever know. But it's there. So they have confused this what they call an assertive women that compete with males, as being a strong woman. None of that. None of that. A strong woman knows to hold her peace. A strong woman knows to pray. A strong woman knows to lift him up, encourage him, be his force, especially that invisible force. Nothing to ever tear him down. Nothing, ever. Knows that she doesn't compete, but complete. Because from day one, and the servant said this before, from day one, God already knew the power of woman to the point that he would rather have us on his side. And then cause us to be at enmity with the evil one, with Satan, with the serpent, right? And he put it so where he gonna have that serpent mess with our children, because like we said, even a quiet woman mess with her kids, it's all over with. So God knew what he was doing, and God makes no mistakes. But the assertive female, the one that competes and not complete, the one that would rather see him fall than to lift him up, that one right there is on the rise again. We see it again, right? We see it again. And want to thank God for every moment, those 8 years that he gave the black man, y'all call him black, the black man, the opportunity to be there for those like with small businesses and those that, you know, on welfare. That was your time. Those 8 years were your time to get out, to get through. By now you should be way over the hump. You understand? You that no matter what happens, you know that Jehovah Jireh, you know that God is your provider. By now. And so that spirit is back again. And it's to the point that it has awoken where you hear the word of the Lord say he will not sleep. That 8 years already gone. 4 years we had, that was grace. And at 45th president, that was grace. And then we come back again. But to the assertive, to the ones that compete and not complete. Lord, it's almost like, and you got to allow his servant to just stay right there. It's almost like a slap in God's face. It's almost like a slap, a cold slap. As we know that God granted us that opportunity to have those full 8 years. You won't know what his servant is talking to, like we just, you know, whatever like that. But it's already on video. We're going to bring it here. We're going to bring it here. It's going to come here. Because the same word that said, You don't want to get too far into that. The same word that said on February 26th of 2022, it was a 10:27 moment. Spirit said to tell the people Joe Biden will be relieved. That was on February 26th of 2022. The video's already out there. The Spirit of God had already gone way out there to see that it's not about we need another black anything. And this is what's going to blow your mind. The Spirit said, unless it's all spirit, which is serve and believe this will be. Right? This is what all of this right here, that's why we stand in the gap. Because if it's servant, as we're told, have to go back to the poll for the second time in all these years, it is going to stand there this time to bring the truth to the polls. No other reason. The first time was for a woman, because God said to his servant 2003 that there would be a woman. God witnessed to all of this in the White House. But at that time, we said to you, and we make it clear, we bring it to light, that God was talking about Hillary Clinton. But the message she had was too strong for her. It had the word together in it. It was just too strong for her. And so she was fought on every side, and we can't get into all those details, and because we could just right down to the very smallest detail. You understand? So it's not about a woman either. You understand? This is not about a woman, and it's definitely not about it's not about black, because all that's been done. You see, we've had all of that, and being that it be a woman won't make any difference. You understand? And when Hillary Clinton was coming, they kicked her under the bus. They got rid of her because of that one word, together. You understand? And she wasn't strong enough to take that message. You understand? Not to a black people. So here we are. And there's one more video the Lord is showing his servant that you got to go back. You got to put it in here. And that's the one about the black, the white, the black and white. And what was that? The black, white. It's not black, it's not white. And the Lord had us talk about that. We got to go get that video also. This is all for record purposes and teaching as well. And it's all coming in here, right in this one particular video. And then make sure we're not missing anything. We're going to bring that one particular, we know exactly what it is, so we're going to make sure that right about here we have that moment. That's where we're going to bring that one in, to show you it's not a color thing. It's not a color thing. It's not a woman. It's not a woman thing. It's not about that making history, because if you do your history search, you know it's bigger than that. And that she's not the only black woman to run for president. It's much deeper. It's much deeper. But in the reverse, right? And if they can relieve Joe Biden, they can also relieve her. But back to reverse. And his servant believed. Now here come that double grace that the Lord is going to give the church. He's going to give the church an opportunity to get it right. Every time we keep coming back to the 11 always represents open. That's too deep right now to go into or talk about, but we will. Right? But we see that there's a double grace coming, right? They cannot be misleading, misguided, But this, where you think it's about the world or about woman, about a color, about a race, no, this is about his church. This is about his people. You understand? That they be not deceived. Right? And so that being said, we see that the 11 is back again. And we also see 60. Right? And we all know what 60 represents. My God Almighty. But it cannot be misleading, or misguided. All right? And that we see God wanting to restore man, the man that he sent through his son. And like we said, that this time, right, it's all about timing. And we're strong enough to say that it's not the timing of woman, it's the timing of man, whether he stand or whether he fall. And that assertive, the one that competes and not complete, would rather be seen as a strong woman than to be attached to a strong man. The strong man is the one that is the threat. And so there's a powerful reverse. And the reason why we stand here on this particular day, day 25, right, is we stand in the gap for man on tonight. Especially the strong man. That not only do you be a strong man, I'm just only holding on to that because you know how MD on notes, see that right there? You see man / not woman, right? Because we've had all of this. So you got to see that it's bigger than, you understand? And this thing wants to make history and make it without God. But if the 14th key ends up in the wrong hands, I'm sent to say that God says I'm coming for it. And if all others can make a prediction, and all others can believe the ones that make predictions, even a cartoon, then his servant ought to be able to stand on what is to be believed, that cannot lie, that is a promise and not a threat. We've been receiving a lot of threats, not his servant personally, but the things that is just out there just make all kind of threats, right? But that word, as threatening as it is to so many that don't know the word and don't want to come to know the word, there are promises that have been made to the righteous, to those that are of God. Those are the ones that tonight, of all places we could be, we're on the MD platform for Light and Light, even though you're not hearing any of those classic cassettes or chosen dialogues or virtuous healing souls, we're still here. And we have stood in the gap for you not to go in the direction in which there is this big, huge pit. And without light, it's all darkness, and you can't see. But if the Spirit right here leads and guides you, that Spirit will lead and guide you into all truth and cannot lie. All right, so we're going to put a whole lot of this up on the wall, dates and everything. That's why it's so important. And that's one thing we teach is so important. That's why you hear it. Today is October 25 of 2024. You hear that. We put dates on everything because we know that we have people that will come, folks that will come, and they want to take or they want to steal without light. This is dangerous. You understand? That's why his servant is careful in the delivery of all of this. And so the reason why we can believe we can now come and share with you and all that one way or the other, you understand, we can stand and now do it. It would be through Spirit and Spirit alone. So if it gets touched or come after, you touch the Spirit, not his servant, right? And so we're going to make sure that you're going to see a lot of this go up on TikTok and all. And one more time, you get another chance. This time is double grace. So it behooves even the church that they take heed in all. Nevertheless, if you would help us share this. That's number one. I believe we can share on this particular platform and all. And so right here on this particular page, we believe we can share also on this page and also make sure and all that the same thing we see that 7-4 come back, but it's in reverse. It's in reverse. And unlike before where it could have went either way, either or, this is and could seem to be the same way. But God is not looking for a woman this time, not for this. Like I said, if it was ever to be, it would have been Hillary Clinton. They could fight that all the way to the ends of the earth, but it's still going to be what it is. And if that woman ever took a voice and ever spoke and said the things that really, truly down deep going on, if that one was to ever go back Republican or go back, in another direction, it would be life changing. And we could say a lot more to that in all, but nevertheless, in all, that's where a whole lot of this disturbance and all kind of things. But because I believe this one woman here, given the opportunity, and even when the things started happening to her, she still wasn't the one that could be manipulated. So we just use the word light term. She was just thrown underneath the bus. She took on illnesses, sicknesses, and all different kind of things. But nevertheless, back to the reverse. When you see the big old R goes up, that represents reverse. It represents restoration. And that's what you're going to be seeing more of on TikTok as we take you into that part about that restoration. All right. So it's late. It's time for us to go. We believe we put enough out there that we can work with, come back on and put as much information in there for you to be able to walk in the light, see the light and all, and to desire more light. Until next time, which we don't know what time that might be, but we're looking at, we're off the internet in just a little while. We'll be off the internet. We'll be signing off for 24 hours as we take the challenge of off the internet for 24 hours. Sunday, we might be, you might hear live, right here, you might hear a chosen dialogue with the actual date 10/27 on it. Now that's out there. We know that we're to do that. What time, we don't know. It won't be this late, but we do know that Sunday we have been led by Spirit to bring a CD, which is a chosen dialogue with the date 10/27 on it to the forefront. Anything else that we might have missed will be included in this video here on 10/25. Until we meet again, to God get that glory.